So today we're going to be making rustic floating bookshelves in the absolute cheapest way we can possibly imagine doing.
I'm excited about this one because this one was actually inspired from a comment off of one of my, the master bedroom tour, and I talked about my bookshelf and I wasn't sure what to do. So it was recommended doing bookshelves along the roof, and I was like, I love that idea. So I've been wanting to do that for quite a while, and we're finally gonna do it.
There's a couple of walls. One is right behind us. Reveal. Wow. Like a 16-foot bookshelf in the living room, and one in the bedroom. So what we've done is we've taken a 2 by 10
by 16.
because we wanted the bookshelves to be at least 8 inches deep. So a 2 by 10 is like 9 inches deep.
I don't really need this to be like textbook ones. I want it to be more reading books. So 8 inches was enough.
And it's just regular spruce, which is like the cheapest wood you can get.
I think it was about $30.
About $30.
Yeah.
It's maybe technically not the best wood. It would have been nicer to go with something like oak or fir or something, but then you'd be talking like hundreds of dollars for something like that. So we've taken that, we sanded it down, cut the corner, we've stained it, and special walnut is the stain we used, and then we've put a varathane on it.
Got our little helper here. You gonna help us do it? Yeah.
So before hanging the bookshelf, Dallas put in 2 nails and then tied a string from one to the other so that we could level the string and make sure that everything was level.
And then we bought a whole bunch of these brackets off Amazon.
Which we thought we might want to do more, what is it, the L bracket with the brace, because we thought that that might be better for holding. But when we were looking online, this was rated for the same amount.
It does seem pretty sturdy, so we're gonna see how that goes.
So then Dallas was able to put all the brackets up along the string, and then we knew everything was going to be level and they were where they needed to be. This worked super well. And getting our shelf up, it's so perfect. It looked way longer on the car, and like carrying it around, once you actually get it up, it doesn't actually feel that long, but it worked perfect for the space. Trying to do it in the bedroom was a little more interesting just because it's tight, but it was good because there wasn't as much to drill into as far as studs, so it was very tight and it's not going anywhere.
Each of our supports are spaced just based on studs. That's just where I could find the studs. The studs in this wall actually has a lot of lath and plaster. It's a very old wall, and so it got some weird gaps and things. So I just took a nail and went through and just pounded it in, and if it was where the shelf would be, so it'd be behind the shelf, and if there was a stud there, I could feel it, and if there wasn't wood back there, it would just go through super easy. I'd just pull it out and check the next spot.
And then Dallas is just going through and drilling in the bracket to the bookshelf so that the bookshelf does not slide off. As soon as it was up, I could not help myself. I was so excited to just see what a few things look like up there. And once you get going, this part is the really fun part.
One of the things that makes using a spruce building board like this one not ideal is that it's more prone to warping and twisting. And you can actually see in this one, we have a little bit, we didn't quite see that, a little bit of a U-shape away from the wall right there. This board had a lot more warp than the bigger board did, interestingly enough. We probably could have chosen this one a little better, but it also might have warped after we bought it and we brought it home. But even though there's quite a bit of twisting in person, you still don't notice it much because it's so high. We also were able to use the screw holes in these brackets to kind of straighten the board a little bit and kind of pull it into a straighter shape. That corner is definitely lower. This corner is kind of up a little bit. And there's kind of a twist throughout, but the books stay on fine, so it'll be okay. But because we're going with rustic, that works just fine for us. We're totally happy with that. We originally were going to decorate this later, but Jill can't help herself. We're super excited.
I was the one that was like, oh no, we've done lots today. We're just gonna wait. I'm not necessarily decorating it all. I'm just putting up a couple display books and a couple display spots. And then the thought is it's going to take time to decide what books go in each of these ones. So I'm just kind of like starting. Not a full lot.
What do you think of the shelf?
I'm excited about this shelf is that there's a few kind of, I'd say, like heirloom pieces from grandfathers on this shelf. So we have binoculars, a watch, and a camera that are all ones from different grandpas. They were kind of sitting in the window, but I think this is going to work so much better and display them on there, which will be cool. I want another plant on the Beholding and Becoming book.
Yeah, the heirloom pieces used to all sit on this ledge that we have very nicely across the entire of our living space. And it is great for displaying things, but a lot of things ended up in the windows. And then once we got these windows to open, because they didn't always open, then they started to get dusty when we would open the windows because we're at ground level. And then they're also in the direct sunlight, so that's not as good for keeping heritage pieces lasting well. So having them up on the bookshelf will be super great. Is it a good shelf?
It's a great shelf.
The idea with this bookshelf is once a while back, somebody had said something about having a bookshelf that was his 150 mentors, and they were the books that he goes back to and he rereads, and they're the ones that are worth reading again. And so the idea with this is that this bookshelf is our 150 mentors. And so I kind of broke it up that the idea is that kind of 50 books in each bookend eventually. And those are the ones that we want our kids to read. Those are the ones that we would reread or recommend, kind of our favorites. You're gonna have to vote on which ones you think should go on there, because there's some that really stand out, but there's also ones that are like right on the edge. And maybe some go there and then eventually over time we like change them out as we get ones we like more. But
Jordan Peterson one, that one's one you read and it was really good.
I think this How Will You Measure Your Life, Clayton Christensen, is definitely one that goes in there. I always find books are kind of messy, but they tell so much about a person, and you want books. But I just find them messy, and so I never really was happy with putting it somewhere on display in the house, so it kind of ended up getting tucked away in our bedroom. And I kind of prefer not having a bookshelf in our bedroom. I feel like I'd like it to just be, so I kind of like to have
our bedroom is kind of like a small space, right? And it uses up a whole corner, and it's too small, really. Like,
yeah. I'm looking forward to having the floor space back and to space them out so I can kind of decorate in between as opposed to just solid books.
and because the bookshelf hasn't had enough space, it's also been kind of in an inconvenient place. So there are piles of books all over the house, not where they're supposed to be, just because they're easier to access and they just don't get put away because the bookshelf is such a mess. So hopefully this helps.
So here it is. So we got the bedroom shelf up in our bedroom and took out the bigger floor bookshelf. And I am so happy with this. This was such a good suggestion. One of the things I'm still figuring out a little bit is just that with these shelves, I really want to give space in terms of design. And so we still have a few books that we're trying to figure out 100% where we want them to go, just because I don't want to just put it solid. I feel like you can do a lot of fun stuff with it. So this one is a little bit more the utility bookshelf in terms of just the extra books. And so I've tried to put kind of themes like some themes horizontal and another theme vertical somewhat, but I still feel like I'm playing around with this a bit to just find out exactly how I want to do it. But for now, it's put there. I think there's room for improving it, but I love it so much more than the floor one and super, super happy with it. And this is our living room bookshelf. I feel like this makes such a huge difference in our living room. It is such a neat just design piece for in here. And I've just been loving what it has done for this room. This one has ended up being some more of our favorite books that we've put out. I love it just in terms of being in the living room, a little bit more of a conversational starter, because you can tell so much about a person based on the books they read. And how we've kind of designed it is we've broken it into 3 different categories. And then the verticals are ones that we have read, one of us at least has read. And the horizontals are ones that we haven't read yet, but we think they might be ones that we want to put on the shelf. We have a lot of optimism for them. So that's really fun. I have a few kids' books that are like some of my favorites as far as just character for reading to them. So yeah, I think it works so well. It just looks so beautiful in here, and it fits so well in here.
And once again, it's a piece that when people have walked into the space, they're like, wow, that looks so good. it just has got a really good reaction in general. And having just a little bit of space for like that pop of green for the plants or the book stands to highlight a particularly beautiful book or a saying or a quote that we find meaningful, just adds that character. So suddenly it's not just a utility shelf. It's like it's a display piece as well as practical.
One of the things with these books that I was finding is that part of the beauty in them is giving more space to your books and not just cramming them all. I didn't want to put them all like really tight all together. And so I've tried to give more space to them, which does mean we still have a few books that we're trying to figure out exactly where we want them to go. Our other bookshelf was overflowing, so it's not totally that the other bookshelf held all of them. There was more than what could fit on that one. But I'm finding that it fits a little bit less than what our other bookshelf did. So just trying to figure out where to put some of the other ones still yet.
Like your idea is that you want to design it to have like extra, I don't know, like white space like you might find in a magazine on a page, right? That allows it to have breathing room, so it's not just all clutter. There's like, I don't know, like a peacefulness to it, some decor pieces up there and things like that. Yeah, one of the things that we want to do with our home in terms of what's on the walls and what people see, what not just guests see, but what our kids see and what we're reminded of all the time is like what we call standing stones, which is kind of a biblical term. There's something that reminds you of something significant God's done in your life or in your history. So you can point to that and say, remember when God did this? Or somebody might ask, what's that about? And so up there we have things that remind us of our heritage. So things from grandparents, heirloom pieces we talked about. But we also have the lantern is from our wedding.
Yeah.
You walk down the aisle with the lantern instead of bouquet of flowers.
Not a huge fan of flowers. One of the books on there, it's all of our brainstorm. So like when Dallas is thinking up ideas of things we want to do, I'll sit and I'll just write out the brainstorm as we go, or I'll write out my brainstorms as far as ideas, and then it goes all in my brainstorm book. And so I have filled up one brainstorm book, so it is up there now. Just as like that is so much of our dreams and goals and things we've been processing and working through. I feel like it's so much a part of the last few years of our marriage, and so that has a display on this shelf.
And that book is also part of that, right? That's a reminder of the work that we've done together. Lots of our relationship it's really...
It has a fitting saying on it that is, this is what hard feels like. And it's a lot of the hard things we've done together.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's meaningful. We can look up there and remember. Our kids can look up there and ask, what's that about? What's that about? Mm-hmm. Guests can come in and see what's important to us based on the books. They can ask questions about things. It's a really good addition to our home, I think.
Yeah. So thanks for watching, and we hope to see you in the next one.
Bye. Actually, you can see right here.
Yeah.
If you want to see how these were made, this has also made a huge difference in our house. We did it at the same time. Too many things all in 1 week. Yeah. But we did do this. There's another video you can watch.
The wainscoting pieces.
Right there. Yeah, you want to see how we did that wall. All right. Bye.